You are playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Oh, I can't click on the game in the game. Or the game in the game in the game in the game. Enter. Alright. Begin the game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Just like Twitch streaming. That's
And
exactly.
then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
I'm me. Where do these tubes go? I hate Mondays. That is your internet. Well, these filing cabinets seem poorly arranged. I'm still making typing noises from all the way over here. Is that... That's not 4 p.m. Why did they ask me for the time? Is it because Steam was down? I have no reflection. Oh.
I don't know what to say. I'm touched.
Green
You're
herring.
both
All of his
touched.
coworkers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go
77
to the meeting
months.
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Thank you very much. Subdub. The volume now is not loud enough.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Who farted? Oh! I turned off his computer. I dad. Oh, number one dad. I thought that said I dad.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Ah, hilarious.
Where are you from? A great question.
Timothy, thank you for 10 months in the subtub. I can't even get back in my own building, room, office. No concern about the nothingness outside. Why am I still making clicky noises? Oh. How the mighty have fallen. Peace talks. Be my Valentine. Oh, fridge. I'm sorry, does that mug say what I think it says? Where's desk number 420? Bow, 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 bow. There isn't one. Ah. There isn't. Oh, here it is. Whee. Fifth Annual Subcommittee Meeting of Internal Revenue Analysis for Committees of the Royal Revenue Discussions Club for girls. Jokes.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ah, see? See? This is where you're supposed to subvert expectations. He kneeled down and read all the papers on the ground. Recommendations from the Oversight Committee, June 18th, 1991. General questions about bucket filling? That is the same Oversight Committee. Words. That one is titled Words. I got an achievement. You can't jump. Oh, because I tried jumping. Achievement unlocked. Get your first achievement. You guys can't see these because they're Steam overlays, but...
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Oceans. Oh, these are all just the same. These are all just the same textures used again. A short history of the relation between Poland and Austria-Hungary. That's oddly specific.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Yep.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
It is. Levels, Jerry. Levels.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left. Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Wall hacks. Time isn't passing. The minute hand is staying the same. Oh, it says fuel. It says fuel, not what I thought it said. Other four-letter words. Coffee nut. I wonder if I can...
But at last, he had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Doing anything they tell me to. You're lying right now, stop.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
What is it, some sort of portal room? People on the roof. Do not jump while it's in motion. It will cause death. Vent access for trained employees only. Climb at your own risk. There is no climbing. I cannot climb.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
What's down here?
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
I had to see if I could get on the platform. The gangway. Danger. Danger everywhere. Must be French. No buckets past this point. Alright, that's the second bucket reference.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Why isn't there a blue What are these things called? These are called, not pallet? No. Dolly. Dollard. Oh. A loony.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop.
I'm gonna go back through the blue door.
We would
What
both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Ah! Ah! Open right in my face. One of these metaphysical... Fade to black.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
A dusty, dusty room.
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Another dimension, another dimension. Like we're in a Winamp visualizer. The Proteus ending. Whoa! What's all this stuff? I'm looking at the light. Ooh, green spherules. Ooh, red spherules. This is one of those cross your eye things. Ford Focus. What happened to the green ones? I missed them.
No, wait. Where are you going?
Those better?
Right. Where were we?
Looking at orbs. Contemplating orbs. Oh, all the little dust particles flew away. Oh, they're back. As cubes. The heck? Drawing?
Oh no! Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Okay.
Good, good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there, hmm? Just stay here.
Stay on the drugs.
No! What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here. You heard me before, didn't you? You will die! What about this isn't getting through to you?
What if I twist a noozle?
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Twist the noozle.
Are you... You are going to stay here, aren't you?
He's not even complaining anymore. See, he's fine. We bamboozled him. Couldn't even catch up. He's still in that other room. Didn't even see me leave. Do a flip. I think we've run out of narration. Yeah, so we've run out of narration. A little bit disappointing. They didn't fully commit to the bit.
No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room? No. No, what are you
I'm
doing,
walking like
Stanley?
slower.
Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
We just have to stop moving. Is it truly a walking sim if we don't walk?
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this. Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
Jokes! Nothing? Nothing?
Stanley, let's go back to the other room.
I don't think
Can
I'll
you
die.
do that for me? My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Yee.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Add it to the list. I like work, I just hate my boss. I don't think that was there the last time. Certainly didn't notice it. I can't read what that says. Knowing your city. I don't think this was here before. Alternately.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office,
Awaiting
but
input.
it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Input received. Okay. The username is access.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
That I did. The first and only time.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Mergers. Group. Pranking the Floor 5 meeting. We're broke Wednesdays. Stock market is somewhere in here. No more charts. Monetize free to play. Synergize. Expenditures. Global market paradigms. Pie chart profits. Bi-quarterly post review. Teenagers. Youths. It's in the bin. But I think that's a stupid idea. Broom closet opened.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
You sure?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
It's not an actual wire, that's just a
It
texture.
was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Sweet FA. Sweet fried apples.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If
There's
I'd
a
said
tube.
Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money.
The
Also,
drug money.
Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Is that a noozle? That's a noozle. For my hoozle.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game
Commentary?
is
He
not
said
lost on
comedy.
them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Is that twine?
Ah, second player. You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus?
Fungus.
Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Delicacy. Nothing.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I don't know, that red room down there seems pretty enticing. Yes, this is my first time playing this video game. Hi, Lonnie. And then there's a cat riding a motorcycle. Pen pals! My Chevette.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that.
How'd this
And
car
in such
get
a
in here?
competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons.
Push the
Please.
buttons.
It's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job.
My Wi-Fi.
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Oh, dang it.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Add it to the list.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
It's telling you that you have to follow the narration. Waiting input. What happens if I do this enough that I put 5 inputs? Huh? True ending?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up
Get
to his
Chris out of the
boss's
broom
office,
closet.
hoping he might find an answer there.
bevel on the text.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
What sort of a menagerie is this? Well, I'm curious what happens if you input... I don't want to have to go through that again, though, so maybe not. Because the boss knows that the boss says what the boss says go. If the boss suffer losses, then that's what the boss chose. Okay. Extreme bathrooms. Time. Is that the time? The beige page. Business time. Are hostile takeovers the new biannual percentage? Just ask Twitter. I'm sorry, is that a panda with a gun pointed at its head? Business strategy. Business. Oh, up. Oh, I can't leave. Oh, they blocked me. Why is this piece of paper illuminated? Up again. Full speed. This is the same room.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Weird sound peony.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Why? Oh, because I'm icy. Because I was like, why is there a cursor showing up over here?
2845.
we got a wall hack. Oh. Oh, I was up on the furniture for a second.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
But I'm on the furniture now. Have you not noticed? I'm on the furniture. Oh. Quiet generator. Loading, loading, loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Oh no! I thought I could send it
Whoops.
on its way.
Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Ah, they went with the R19.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Nothing happened. I don't remember what it was. Pheasants. Oh. Incorrect.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this? Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
It broke.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
But escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
It's a kind of escape. Forward focus.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Light is on.
Nope, still on board with death.
Wish I could run to my death. Ah, but you didn't expect this, did you? Hmm? Wall hacks. Yee. Woo.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
It's Susan. I did it.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
This is a museum. Ah. Oh, excuse me. Oh. I'm allergic to fourth wall breaking. Nature paintings. Ooh. I didn't see the solitaire. Where's the one for input? Button sounds. Each sound is a mix of a keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. I'm a musician. Engravings. It's Mr. Randomizer. Remember these things? Oh! The war zone. Fighting aliens. Alien base, awesome. In December 2018, we announced Ultra Deluxe. These screenshots of a video were made from the announcement trailer. Here are a selection of those emails. This is a big place. An early version of the lounge. The cargo lift. I could have fallen to my death. Chose not to. Confusion ending. The confusion ending? Was that the one with all the weird space stuff? Don't know what this one is. We had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Very few players realized this, which was frustrating for everyone. Meta. Zending. Very Portal. "2012, this is an old game." Oh, did I do that? No. The monitor room. Countdown desk. The freedom ending. Well, no, I'm just very lost. Office clock. Boss's office.
fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here, I'm just going to make this easy on you. Nothing there? Shoot. Well, try the other one then. Let's see. Stanley walked through the green door. Stanley stood on the snow. When Stanley came to the lift, he traveled upward to the power source at the top of the facility to end this injustice forever.
Alrighty then. Oh, this is back at this room. Well, how do I leave this place? I'm confused. Oh, probably from the exit. Bold. Oh, I've been here. That's the office, all right. Countdown room.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Oh, thought I could like go behind it. Oh,
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
ooh.
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you.
What if I say quit? The game is now paused. Begin the game again. Shaky. I'm confused. Settings. Yes. Begin the game. Hey, that YouTube video
This is
worked.
the story of a man named Stanley.
We got a new
worked
Hello
for a company
Fresher.
in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He
Got a
sat
new
at
Hello
his desk
Fresh.
in room 427.
Who was it? Well,
and
it
he
was
pushed buttons.
Potomisium.
Orders came
Thank
to
you
him
very
through
much.
a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley
Welcome to the
relished
freshman.
every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley
Much appreciated. That
was happy.
was very good.
And then one
That
day,
helps me out.
something very peculiar happened.
And you get
Something
food.
that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say, high. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk
Then I wonder if
and
that
stepped
input
out of his office.
will be on number 3.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh man, nobody's looking for input. I need the input.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I guess I haven't done this, have I?
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Button! Gotta push the button.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Can't go nowhere else.
Oh, no,
Oh.
it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Rustling papers.
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
It's a van. I cast no shadows. Oh, it's the screen room.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Oh, what did I do
All
it
of his
wrong?
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, there's no more inputs. I was inputting so good. I had 2 out of 5 inputs.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
All the doors. These two doors lead to the same place. Sort of.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Well, I did.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Loud noises. Bees! It's a 420 room.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
There's no time.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so.
Barn.
I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
I win!
Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both didn't put in any actual work for the win.
Did the alert
Some
go off?
people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations.
I didn't even notice.
I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
I didn't even notice. I just thought that was part of the game. Good job. You win. You are the one who has won.
I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
I gotta push buttons. That ain't right. There's the solitaire screen. I can't shut this one off. Also, this chair doesn't exist. This is a non-existing chair. Most of the other ones are definitely solid. Definitely solid. All hacks. All hacks. Oh. All hacks.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
The Riddler. Oh, wait a minute, that's where I came from. I got turned around, legitimately. My monthly ledgers. My imbalances, my reports, my accounts. My budget analyses. Peer reviews. Ooh. Is this where I came from?
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Remember, Fern.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Whoa, this one again. I don't want to end up in here again.
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Sure is a lot of this taking place in the same exact place the entire
You know
time.
what, Stanley?
Ooh.
I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
The line. Ooh.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
The confusion ending.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes?
After a long time, Stanley dies.
Determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule?
Schedule.
How would we even know?
It's pronounced schedule.
Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay.
Chair's real.
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination.
I've
So
heard
I
that
hope
before.
That's where we are right now.
Narrator.
We'll find out, won't we?
I've heard that
Eventually.
somewhere before.
Well, in the
I can't
meantime,
quite
if
put
you-
my finger. Ah! Balls.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Oh, I don't
he
remember what
entered
it
the
said
door on
after
his
the
left.
5th restart what to do. I didn't look. Anything you do is correct. Well, there's that path through the right. But
This
then...
was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace? Its subtle charm? No. Stanley knew it was something deeper, something darker.
Buck 25.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
So there's that way, but then there's also the way of like actually taking the elevator somewhere.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
It's the line.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really.
The line is
I'm
down
not.
there.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
But the line. What if I... Will I die? If I go down to the line? What if I land on that truck?
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful. Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
This is a different verbiage. Are you gonna upload this to the YouTubes? I don't know. YouTubes are pretty ornery. That all I do is upload Twitch VODs anymore. I don't take time to edit videos like the good old days.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Alright, now let's actually go all the way across.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Oh,
Look, Stanley,
the line's
I think perhaps
gone.
we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
My forklift. My bulldog. Ah.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Bread.
All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Can't move.
Who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry,
Oh.
but you're in my story now.
Oh, he's evil.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
Invisible
Now
wall.
he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
X. N. It's kind of a sideways Z.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
F3.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy
HelloFresh.
world, he began to fill it with many
Press
possible
G to
paths
HelloFresh.
and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer.
Ah.
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
How long am I supposed to wait? My pencils. Bam!
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
P. P.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
You died. P. X. V.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Beep, beep. Whoop. Oh. Shortcuts. New content. But there's new content.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Content ID. Oh.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if the...
Mostly tedious.
Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
I jump from within to out. I can. You can jump and type at the same time.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
If I don't use all my jumps, somebody else will use them. Oh, I'm jumping while crouching. Doesn't even do nothing. One jump. I want to know what happens when you hit 0, though. We'll never know.
Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Well, they started me off facing the wrong way. We do have that one jump if we ever get back into that room.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
Got him. Cigarettes.
Oh, never mind. You're not a dog. Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite
Memory
memories
Zone?
so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Niblet. It is, I was about to say, this is Medieval Dynasty we're suddenly playing. We're playing the Medieval Dynasty, Niblet. Is there a baby in that basket? Or that bread I was promised?
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
The Last of Us. Ah. 2013, get it. Zone, sweet zone. Backwards. The original remake. For $1. Nominee, nominee, nominee. Yes, the New York Times. 2% off designer hat. A small creature owns the other half. We got that ending. A mouse. A gerbil. There's a piano.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph
Oh,
of
should I have
games
stayed outside
journalism,
and listened to
10
music
out
more?
of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing.
Look at us.
It's
Hey,
no games
look at
at
us.
all.
Look at us. Look
It
at us.
isn't even the Stanley Parable
Look at
anymore.
us.
It's
Say it
just
again.
a husk.
Look at
now.
us.
A lifeless husk.
Every game
with
as
an
every other
hour of
game.
new
Every game is
elevated
every other
content.
game. That's weird. All the things I say, you'd think I'd have played this already, and that's where I've got... Maybe they got it all from me. Maybe this version is customized for me. The tasteful nostalgic. It's a random Mustang. These knobs are too close. Your knobs are too close. Separate your knobs.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
A door opened. I heard it. Oh, this one did, but I can't go through this door. Oh, but then so did this one.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
The Steam reviews?
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny.
Whoa,
I'm trying
almost
to
got
make a serious
crouched.
work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Ooh. That forklift simulator game, though, that was something.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to.
Bollocks.
These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record.
Bollocks.
I feel like a failure.
Bollocks.
Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices are what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... The story and the choices are what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably...
They restarted.
All until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... The story and the choices are what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah.
I bet you there's an achievement for sitting here for an hour.
Until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say...
the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all
While
until
you're
the
waiting,
end of time.
why not
at
sign
which
up for
time everything all
HelloFresh?
at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is.
Yeah,
How
they
many
don't realize
billions
we
left
watched 12
until
hours
so
of
much
Car on a
more than
Stick.
forever ago,
And by watched, I
which
mean
is why I
played.
say the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000
Connor
years,
Sherlock.
until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time,
I don't think
at
this
which
clock
time
moves.
everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245.
The only thing
the
there
logic of
is.
elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No,
Okay, maybe the clock is
until
moving.
245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until
The
just
clock is moving.
yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many
All right,
billions
I'll see you
left
guys in a few
until
hours.
so much more than forever ago, which is why I say the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah.
Don't you dare
We've eaten
skip.
too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've
Gripping
eaten too much and
content.
it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore
Wait
becomes
till
impossible to
2:45 on the clock?
manufacture.
Is that what he's saying?
For nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than
Or not.
forever ago? Which is why I say... the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably...
I do have to use the
we
bathroom.
all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back,
All right, be
and
right
never
back.
a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years,
Until just yesterday.
Here and there,
forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be.
It's
It's the only thing there is.
How many billions left
until
so
much more than forever ago?
Which is why
Which is why I say,
the story,
the story,
and the choices,
or what have you,
and therefore, by becoming
what it is.
so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah
The
blah
minute
blah
hand
blah
is
blah
indeed
blah
moving.
blah 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 blah. We've eaten
We
too much
started
and it
at
can't be just yet,
1:11.
no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story, and the choices.
Does the plant
or what
grow?
have you,
Maybe the
and
plant
therefore, by
grows.
becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It
says
went
therefore,
on for
not
nearly
thereby.
10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably,
You
we
listen to the
all
fan.
until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 240.
Thereby is how you write
The logic
therefore.
of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time
I'm on the
everything all
bucket.
at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I... Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their...
Cookie 9?
Or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was...
245.
Well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's... Well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait. How do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
This is when I should have taken my break. No, we just gotta wait for it to hit 245. True, the hour hand is far too long and bold. Look at this chain link fence fidelity. Chain link fidelity. Just gotta wait 10 minutes. $10 of ads. I'll reach my 4 minutes per hour that's required. Oh, we can do this. If only I'd known. Gripping content. I mean, we also attempted and kind of failed to play the flight simulator game for the full 6-hour flight to Iceland. Then we took drugs. But then we took drugs and ruined everything. I am aware of some of the things, and I'm aware of the baby thing in this game. Here's my question. Is that all the game is? Like, before the deluxe ultra extreme content that we're currently experiencing. Like, is that all the game is? It's just, like, restarting the game over and over again in the office? There was many more than that. I just happened to find the new content. Interesting. I'm not sure I would have liked it. I would have found it amusing. But I would have been like, okay. Aha, video game. Aha. It might be possible that nothing will happen at 2:45, and just the numbers he was saying previously were completely unnecessary and unlinked to any sort of actual message. I saw all those 245 bits earlier, thank you.
Your Stanley is
ZK
not parable.
Vomatsky.
Please check your Bluetooth settings.
What if I push the button at 2:44? How angry would you all be? I mean, honestly, the whole looping business was giving me Outer Wilds vibes. Outer Wilds, yeah. That just, it flicks a switch, like an anxiety switch in me. That's just like, I don't want this anymore. I want anything but what I'm currently experiencing over and over and over again. About as angry as we were about not jumping all the jumps. Y'all told me to leave one jump left on the jump counter. You know what else won't wait for 2:45? HelloFresh! We gotta get Potomesium. Maybe I can do that. In the HelloFreshies. Are you even in the Discord? don't even see you in the Discord. Are you not who you say you are in the Discord? Photomuseum? I am in thine Discord. I gotta look in the offline. I'm sure there's a way to, like, search users, but... There they are. Hello, Fresher. You're in. Oh, thank you. Thank you for typing I exist. Now you can see Hello Freshies, and we can post pictures of our poorly plated food with each other. Oh no, this is Pete Kurt content. Anything but this. Anything but staring at a clock for 3 more minutes. We're so close now. That would have been funny if the plant was growing. Well, I guess that would indicate more than simple time passing. Oh! A good time for my frames to be dropping. That'd be great if I lost the stream just as the time approaches. Nope, he went to go get a door. Maybe the cable, like to the house, the Comcast cable is routed along the gutters. So I wonder if there's some jiggling happening. One more minute. Hello? Oh. Nope. Yellow, red, green, green. Oh! Tanked! Dropping frames. Hilarious. Hello? Can you still hear me? I mean, you can always hear me. You can always hear me in your head. Here comes 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm assuming whatever he was saying meant nothing whatsoever. We could listen to the dulcet tones of this exhaust fan.
Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
12
You've
hours?
just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley,
the plant is dying.
I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something.
Like this?
I am being listened.
Oh, no lights.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months.
The
I
clock
lost it
stopped
all
working.
in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment. And I felt freed.
Like this? Fan's broken. Fire alarm. Why would the clock fall off the wall? Did the nail rust away?
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything.
I hear a drip. Erosion!
The end is never the end, 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 is never.
Surprised there's still water in them there pipes. It burst! The outside is creeping in. I'm a plant. Eroding. Buttons that works. What's the music? Who's playing the music? No! My plants died. Spooky noises. Oh no! We're tilty. Now it's a Connor Sherlock game. We got the same music. Is that, you think that's east? The end is never the end is never the end.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
New content. Ooh, I can shut that door and open it.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Oh, this again. This old chestnut.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience,
sequel?
built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Testing 2 printers at the same time. My briefcase. My form.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams
Windows
progress and
image viewer.
innovation and long-term franchising potential.
A TGA? A TGA? What the heck is a TGA? Time to wake up. It's a bird. New content is out. New content part 2 is in. New hotness. Old and busted. More tablespoons. Better tablespoons. Color red. what is this in? Publisher? Two ferns.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally
Who took the red
spring up
marker?
around them.
Me.
It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham Asylum 2, City. Divinity Original Sin 2, Dark Souls 2, Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar. Every pause button is a Roman numeral 2. You are the sequel. Red carpet. It's a bus simulator. That bus simulator game we played. Every game is every game.
Slide that into your DMs
Oh
and
no.
twitch it.
Weatherman, what have you done?
A man walked out of a bar and got in his car. A police officer walked up and said, "Sir, your eyes seem to be bloodshot. Have you been drinking?" The man says, "Officer, your eyes seem to be glazed over. Have you been eating donuts?"
That is a series of words that was typed into the text box. 68 months, Weatherman. Thank you very much.
Here we
Tub.
are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Buckets. This button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Your name in the game. Hear yours today. Is it going to be Stanley?
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Shirts. Soft, cushy carpet.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and
Jim.
simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then
For
please
Jim, Mac.
step forward and press the button.
I almost swallowed that nut.
Jim J. Jimmick.
Jimmick.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Oh, do I have to? I guess I have to. Got me trapped. Got me trapped. I gotta be Jim.
Jim.
Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
You heard Jim in the game. Log. No screenshots. I hate that noise. That is the worst noise. That is a terrible noise. And I hate it. that noise. Yeah, that noise. That was the noise. I had a company send me a mouse and keyboard. Fancy mouse and keyboard. And they're like, try it out before we agree to any like sort of sponsorship thing. And the mouse, whenever you moved the mouse, made that noise through my speakers or headphones. And I mentioned this to them, and they sent me another mouse, and it did the same exact thing. and I'm like, this isn't working out. I can't use your product. And then I never heard from them again, and I never got any sort of sponsorship ever again. Shirts! Was it when I moved it, or was it when I was not moving it? It might have been when I was not moving it.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that
No,
in
it
the
was
new
not
version,
wireless.
the office
It
could
was
use
a
a bit
gamer
of decoration, like balloons.
setup.
But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Oh. I almost swallowed that nut.
It was really a Stanley Parable 2 sponsor, but you didn't get the reference.
It was it was a reference. Happy 12th birthday, Stepniece.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, stepniece, it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on. A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution.
My bucket.
Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Board members, please note that you must use the following terms as often as possible: synergy, incentive, unpack, ping, deep dive, reach out. I am now stuck with this bucket.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already. Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Creepy. Can I put it in my bucket? Video games. Oh, a lot more back there.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
The jump circle is back. I had one. There's my one jump is left.
You know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel.
New and easy achievement.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you.
Gamers.
And I promise it will happen.
Gamers. Brap.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Well, that's that thing. Infinite hole. Concrete contemplations. Infinite hole chart. More hole. Space. Science. More. It just keeps going.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact,
A hole that you can fall down forever. That's right.
I don't know.
Infinite falling.
I
You can
think it
fall
has been
until
done
the
in a
end
video
of
game
time, if you
before.
like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
I'm pretty sure it's been done before. We've definitely fallen many times, infinitely, with Busto into the Sunship's place, particularly on New Year's Eve. But did you have a bucket? I had Sunships and a bus!
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both
245.
said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly
I can still see the top of the hole.
If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Full hacks. Oh. My neck and my ears. Can't stay in headphones. I was at least gonna say something to me.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my... Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much.
What?
Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time?
It
I
was.
couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole.
Oh,
I didn't think
the
it was
opening's
that
bigger on the
not
top.
infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above.
Parallax.
Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive divot. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
We saved a jump, but the jump only works in the jump circle, so we have no jumping. In the hole, out of the hole. In the hole, out of the hole. Ooh, they even have padding underneath the carpet. Fancy. Uh-oh.
Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
We win! There's a dinosaur outside. The hole is lowering. Later, nerds. Have to change your perspective. Do I want to? Oh! Ah! What is this? I want to be myself again though. Aww. Change your perception. There are a lot of dinosaur bones. Ah.
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up this space of mine. My head.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle pip.
Toodle pip. Oh. I didn't do that.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Lazy. That was lazy. What if I go down the hole again? Mostly infinite. I feel like these bright walls are unnecessary. How deep can we dig? Oh, it's closed. Oh, burns. Burns. Still have that jump. Exit?
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Gym button. Bucket. I've been in here? Oh yeah, this is the balloon. Oh. I get the achievement. Oh, the epilogue, that's right. How do I get up there? I don't even remember where that was. The gym button. Oh, is this it?
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Settings. Oh, I guess there was a staircase there? I didn't even notice. Got nothing. Bamboozled. I am a settings. I am very adamant about my 1080 penis. This map. I guess the exit, huh? I don't know how to leave anymore. I've lost the exit once again. There's a QR code on the merch stand. I don't know. I don't want to be getting any viruses. Oh, is it like actual merch? Oh, that's not my camera. StanleyParable2.com. A YouTube link. Loud noises. It goes to the Stanley Parable 2.com. Video time? I can't watch videos on my video. I'll get a content ID. Oh, here's the exits. Excuse me. New mug. New mug just dropped. That is a gigantic case for traveling musicians. That's too big.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready?
Can you get content ID'd from unlisted videos?
The Stanley Parable 2.
You don't get content ID from any videos.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right?
We got
It's
new jumps.
Sort of. Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this.
Burn.
Here we go. Version 2.
Oh.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title
I played the
screen that
first
says
one
with bold
earlier.
and
I beat it.
uncompromising conviction, this is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Ah. Oh god. Ah. Quit to desktop. I'm about to do that. Only because I've been streaming for very long. Like a whole new game. The credits are even. My field of views. Will you play more? I could. It's not. It's good. It's just not. It doesn't feel replayable. Even though I know that's the whole point of it, but it's again, it's not. I need newness. I need things. But it's the sequel. That's a new game.
This is the story.
I clicked.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Decorations. The bucket. Oh, a rope. A stanchion.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
This is a new hallway, though, is it?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy, it's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it.
Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket.
Where's that
as they
skip
have
button?
changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it. Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also
Somehow
a
you
bucket.
put the sticker on beneath the
That
first
way,
sticker.
if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker. You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us a silent treatment, and to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies, easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
What was downstairs? Forgot what was downstairs. The room with the car that just kept going in. Whoa!
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Two out of 6. Out of 6! Oh, this door. Oh, this door was the bathroom. Another one! I'm so good at video
Another miniature
games.
Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
What? This is a different word. Word? These are different words.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
I don't know, I can still
Even
walk
now,
on these
in
couches.
his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Small number in the corner of my screen. You mean like that number that went up to 18? Ah.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
It broke.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
I never went through here before.
The lights rose on an enormous room.
I've been up
packed with
there.
Television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Wall hacks. Whoa! What happens if I jump off? Surely this has been done before. My bucket will save me.
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next, Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous
The
pit,
sunship's
and so
ending.
eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis.
What's a panini?
But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the
We had a cat
which was simply trying to live its life down
thing.
here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Figurine Finders Committee.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
I want the bucket again.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him.
Bet you there's a
telling him
figurine
that
in
the
the
employee
conference
lounge
room,
was
the
simply
lounge,
place to
whatever.
be. And here it was. Had
There
the
is
bucket
not.
turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I never did just jump off. See if I could survive the lowest point.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh, secret. Secrets.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then.
Oh my god.
Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
I can survive this fall, right? Certainly onto the forklift. Or I can just do this. Oh, shit. Dang it. Oh. Oh. Okay. Those are gigantic cassette tapes. Oh.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up.
Crikey.
No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms.
It isn't in reverse mode.
Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it.
Monetize it, yes.
Yes.
The Amazon way.
It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
Okay.
I think that you are the most fascinating character.
That
in
was
this
weird.
setup. Not me. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Kaio Kutan, thank you for 25 months in the sub-tub. There you go. That was my gift to you. The first time you've seen that specific ending. Sub-tub. Much appreciated. So yeah, the Stanley Parable 2 and or the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Take your pick. It is a game that exists, and we played it. They provided me with the key. So now even you know that my opinions are not influenced by free video games. Brutal honesty. I could see why in 2013 it was well received as something completely new and different. However, since then, we've played things like not panoramical, what was the other one? With the big and small stuff, you know what I mean. That recently had the multiplayer that we played. Weirdly. Superliminal, that's the one. Oh my god, everybody knows Superliminal. How foolish could I be? Superliminal. Yeah. I mean, that the loading screen reminded me of that, because like Superliminal had all like the loading screens that were like different than normal loading screens. I mean, heck, even What the Golf is very self-referential video game meme-y sort of take on that, but encapsulated in a golf game. Oh! And yeah, like, it had a bunch of weird, like, loading screens, or, like, you know, like, the cursor became the golf ball, and, you know, weird stuff like that. Indeed. Quit to desktop.